Thanks for staying with us. Senior Magistrate Desmond Nair has been released on a warning after appearing briefly in the Pretoria Specialised Commercial Crimes Court. He's been charged with corruption linked to BOSASA or African Global Operations. Nair apparently received gratification for upgrading his home with an electric fence, an alarm system, perimeter beams and a CCTV system. Chief Magistrate Nair's case was among the first to be called at the Pretoria Commercial Crimes Court. The case was quickly adjourned to December. Nair is one of many prominent people charged with BOSASA-related corruption. On this, let's speak now to the NPA's investigating Directorate spokesperson, Sindisiwe Seboka. Sindisiwe, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. What persuaded the ID that a crime may have been committed here?
So you'd know that the investigating directorate is created for such a time as this, where we have the honor to go through the testimony that was heard at the Zondo Commission and to basically look into investigations that were already ongoing while the Commission was having its hearings, to then decipher which matters are court ready. So we finally got to a point in this particular matter on our BOSASA holistic investigations. You'd know that this is the third case from BOSASA that we've enrolled. This first the 1.8 billion for tenders that were received by BOSASA. From Correctional Services, the Vincent Smith matter, which has now have been separated into two matters. And now this particular case where we are saying that yet another gratification was received by a person who was not supposed to receive it because of the office in which they held, as well as the prescripts that surround that particular office.
Now, in the charge sheet, Sindisiwe, there is a main charge and an alternative charge. Talk to us about this.
So the main charge in this charge sheet is the corruption, which we're saying he received the gratification from the BOSASA subsidiary at a time where he was holding high office. He's currently on suspension. And then the alternative charge also looks into how exactly he basically received this particular gratification. Because you would know he's actually appeared before the Zondo Commission. He's cited many reasons as to why he cannot and will not pay back the money that he alleges was a loan. But according to the evidence that we have, this was a gratification.
And listening to, of course, his testimony then and also what came out subsequently in the public domain. I mean, one thinks of the chairperson of the Ethics Committee's Magistrates Commission for once expressing concern around these allegations and how serious they are, saying, this may have unduly influenced him in the execution of his work. How damaging are these allegations when it comes to the work of the judiciary?
Certainly very damaging, more particularly to himself and his reputation, especially from his former colleagues. Many people would have interacted with him because he was the head, or currently still is, because he's still on suspension, the head of magistrates in Pretoria. So this does unfortunately also paint a very bad light in terms of himself, as well as the colleagues that would have possibly looked up to him. But I must also caution that this is still a case to be made out in court. We as Dominus Litis, meaning the lead prosecutors in this matter, are very confident that we finally enrolled the matter, but he's technically still just been charged.
And how confident are you, though, that you have a watertight case here?
We never say watertight at the investigating directorate. That's Rule 101. But what we do say is that we've done all our checks and balances. We've also had the matter go through the various channels, and we are behind it fully.
Now, Sindisiwe, of course, listening to the evidence coming out from the Zondo Commission, there were quite a number of individuals that are said to have benefited here when it comes to these security upgrades. Let's talk about some of the cases of those that are not before the courts right now. Could we see more accused in this particular matter?
I sat through the whole grueling testimony when it was being delivered blow by blow. So I cannot rule that out. Because of the office I hold, I cannot divulge furthermore, but watch the space.
So you're saying basically that we should not rule out the possibility of seeing more that were said to have benefited in the Zondo Commission, possibly being in the dock when it comes to benefiting from these security upgrades?
Certainly.
All right. And I wonder, though, Sindisiwe, some are raising interesting arguments here, and I wonder if this could hold water at all, because should it be found that some of, the allegations you've put forward are proven in court, and he does then, become either convicted or the court decides on one matter to another when it comes to this one, could it have an impact on some of the matters that he has presided over in the past, where some may see him as have been unduly influenced here? Do you foresee any challenges in this regard?
I think that's rather a space I would not want to traverse, because his suspension, for starters, pertains to his employment between himself as well as the department. So between those two entities, it will then have to be proven if there was untowardness that took place while he held that particular office. All we're alleging as the investigating directorate currently is that this is a man who held or currently holds a high position who should not, and ought to reasonably have known that he should not have received these particular gratifications, more particularly also looking at the fact that at the time when those gratifications were received, there was a lot of suspicion around BOSASA, above and beyond the fact that he knows what the rules are about being a magistrate and what you can and cannot receive. He knows that he should not have. But when we get there, we'll then be able to ventilate this in court. But coming back to your question, in terms of the decisions that he made, I have no authority to decide as to whether they were untoward or not.
All right, Sindisiwe, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Do appreciate it. As you say, then we shall watch the space and see what happens. Thank you. Do appreciate your time. That was NPA's investigating directorate spokesperson, Sindisiwe Seboka. Of course, we are looking at the Chief Magistrate Desmond Nair appearing before the Pretoria Specialised Commercial Crimes Court this morning on charges of corruption. And we'll bring you more, of course, on this particular story.